to the boxing.
But it seems
They
they're
did it with Connor. Why not
Yeah,
with me
I know.
to go to boxing? That's something that I want to do. Let's go Turkish. I don't know. I didn't thought about that. I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford. The only thing is that I don't wanna have that rivalry with Canelo because he was my idol.
Whenever you want, those are the fighting words from UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria as he doubles down on his call-out of boxing superstar Terence Crawford. The drama escalated this weekend after Crawford's historic victory over Canelo Alvarez, but not for the reasons you might expect. Tonight, we'll break down how a walkout song became the catalyst for an explosive feud between two of combat sport's biggest stars. Let's set the stage. Before we get to the weekend's drama, this feud started brewing earlier this month when Ilia Topuria made some bold claims about boxing's pound-for-pound king. The Georgian-Spanish fighter, who holds titles at both lightweight and featherweight in the UFC, didn't mince words when he called out Crawford on social media. Topuria claimed he would knock out the undefeated boxing champion with his first punch if they met in a boxing ring.
To the boxing.
But it seems
they
they're
did it with Connor. Why not
Yeah,
with me
I know.
to go to boxing? That's something that I want to do. Let's go Turkish. I don't know. I didn't thought about that. I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford. The only thing is that I don't wanna have that rivalry with Canelo because he was my idol.
Now, to put this in perspective, we're talking about Terence Crawford, a man who's never lost a professional fight, holds titles in 3 different weight classes, and just pulled off one of the biggest upsets in recent boxing history by defeating Canelo Alvarez. Crawford's response was swift and brutal. The boxing legend's reaction? He dismissed Topuria entirely, saying, "That dude's drunk." A lot of MMA guys drink a lot, so he must have been on that alcohol that day. But if you thought that would end it, you don't know Ilia Topuria.
From the UFC world, Ilia Topuria says that if you guys ever boxed, he would knock you out based on the first punch.
That dude drunk, you know. Hey, you know, a lot of MMA guys, they drink a lot, so he must have been on that alcohol that day.
Saturday night at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Terence Crawford walked into the ring to face Canelo Alvarez. But it wasn't just his boxing skills that caught attention. It was his choice of entrance music. Crawford chose Canción del Mariachi by Antonio Banderas, a track made famous in the 1995 film Desperado. Here's where it gets interesting. This exact song has become synonymous with Ilia Topuria's UFC entrances. The Spanish crowd goes absolutely wild when this song hits, and Topuria has made it his signature. Just last month, El Matador sent 80,000 fans into a frenzy performing this walkout song at a festival in Spain.
It was a great show today. I was curious about your entrance, how you came to choose that song in particular to walk out to.
Well, you know, it was part of my outfit. You know, the outfit was inspired by the movie Desperado. You know, as you see, I had the guitar and everything, and my great childhood friend, Rosendo Robles, he was the one that, you know, carried the song out and performed the night. And, you know, it was a wonderful night. Like I said, I got Mexicans and Latinos on my side as well. So, you know, it was a beautiful night tonight.
Did you know Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC?
You said what?
Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC.
Did he? Oh, good. Good for him.
Terence.
Now, was this intentional? Crawford claims it was pure coincidence. At the post-fight press conference, when asked about the song choice, Crawford said his walkout was themed around the movie Desperado to match his outfit and guitar prop. Crawford's explanation about the Desperado theme. When a reporter mentioned that Topuria uses the same song, Crawford's response was dismissive. Did he? Oh, good. Good for him. But Topuria, he saw this as the ultimate disrespect.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terence Bud Crawford.
Sunday morning brought a scorching response from the UFC champion. Taking to social media, Topuria fired off what can only be described as a declaration of war. First, he calls me drunk. Then he walks out to my song, Topuria wrote. Crawford, whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance that mariachi in the ring. And Canelo, I'll save you a round after him. Notice how he didn't stop at Crawford. He also called out the man who just lost, Canelo Alvarez, claiming he'd need just one round to finish him.
Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC.
You said what?
Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC.
Did he? Oh, good. Good for him.
The confidence is staggering, especially considering Crawford just dominated one of boxing's biggest stars over 12 rounds. But Topuria isn't backing down. In fact, sources close to his camp suggest he believes he can convince UFC President Dana White to allow this crossover fight. This would be significant, as White has been notoriously opposed to UFC boxing crossovers since Conor McGregor's bout with Floyd Mayweather in 2017. Let's talk about reality for a moment. The fan reaction to Topuria's latest call-out has been mixed, to put it diplomatically. Social media erupted with responses ranging from, "You wouldn't last 5 rounds," to "Stay in your lane, small guy." Many boxing fans are writing off Topuria's chances entirely, pointing to the massive skill gap between MMA striking and elite-level boxing.
I've said this before in several interviews. People just think he'd steamroll me, you know what I mean? But it's different when there's that much size difference. Laddie, he's a midget. So I said to them, I will finish you, little boy. He's like that much shorter than me. I'm so much wider than him. And that plays a part. That's why people cut weights. That's why you get to a certain weight division. That 10, 15 pounds makes a big difference. And as I said, I'd just kick up Topuria around the cage. I can't wait to shock a lot of people.
Consider this. Crawford just outboxed Canelo Alvarez, a man many considered the face of boxing. Crawford's precision, ring IQ, and technical mastery were on full display against arguably the sport's most recognizable active fighter. Now, Topuria is undeniably elite in MMA. His recent first-round knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 was spectacular, and he's proven himself across 2 weight classes. But boxing is a different beast entirely. Remember, when Conor McGregor stepped into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, he lasted 10 rounds but was ultimately stopped, and many argue McGregor had better pure boxing skills than most MMA fighters. So where does this leave us? The likelihood of this fight actually happening seems remote, but stranger things have occurred in combat sports. With Dana White's Zuffa boxing venture launching in 2026, there could be new opportunities for crossover events. White co-promoted the Crawford-Canelo fight, showing he's willing to dip his toes in boxing waters. Topuria remains confident he can convince White, saying, "I'll have his support. I have no doubt about that. It'll take some convincing, but I'm sure it'll work out." Meanwhile, Crawford has bigger fish to fry in the boxing world. With his victory over Canelo, he's cemented his legacy and has numerous high-profile options ahead of him. But never say never in combat sports. The trash talk alone could generate enough interest to make this financially viable, regardless of the competitive mismatch on paper. Whether you see this as confidence or delusion, one thing's certain: Ilia Topuria isn't backing down from anyone, anywhere. His willingness to challenge boxing's elite, even after being dismissed as drunk, shows the kind of mentality that's made him a 2-division UFC champion. Will we ever see Topuria step into the boxing ring with Crawford? Probably not. But in a sport built on the impossible becoming possible, we'll keep watching this space. That's all for tonight's Combat Sports Central. Keep your gloves up, and we'll see you next time.
I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford, Canelo, because he was my idol. There's always respect for everyone, but I have to try. Why not? I feel that I can do it to get a world title in boxing. Let's go Turkish. This guy, how's his name? The Turkish?
Turkey or whatever?
Turkey, yeah. Turkey.
Ilia Topuria has sent a clear warning message to boxing's pound-for-pound king Terence Crawford, claiming he would put him to sleep. And we're talking about in a boxing ring, not the octagon. And second, Crawford himself has made a shocking pick for who he believes is the best boxer in the entire UFC roster. And trust me, you're not going to see this one coming. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into what could be the next mega fight crossover that has everyone talking.
You are going to see me at 155 that I'm going to touch someone and I'm going to take his lights out. I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Like, do you want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
Let's start with the bombshell that dropped this weekend. Ilia Topuria, the undefeated UFC lightweight champion, has officially put Terence Crawford on notice ahead of Crawford's blockbuster fight against Canelo Alvarez this Saturday. But here's where it gets interesting. Topuria isn't just talking about what would happen in an octagon. No. La Leyenda is making claims about what would happen in a boxing ring. In a post on social media, Topuria wrote, and I quote, "I won't talk about what would happen between me and Crawford in an octagon. I'll talk about what would happen in a ring. I put him to sleep on first contact."
Who were your favorite fighters coming up?
We liked a lot Canelo. Canelo was, and it's one of my favorite athletes. Yeah, I learned so much from him.
Why Canelo? Technical skills?
Technical skills. I learned, like, we were watching his videos, his training footage, like everything. And we were trying to copy that, to repeat that. He inspired us a lot.
Canelo Alvarez praises Ilia Topuria for mimicking his style, showing the world his eyes are on Crawford and not the rising star. Canelo Alvarez is preparing for what is expected to be one of the biggest boxing events in recent history, a showdown with Terence Crawford. However, in a press conference leading up to this much-anticipated clash, Canelo was asked about another potential matchup, this time against Ilia Topuria. His response, though casual, caught the attention of many fans and pundits. Canelo, despite not being overly familiar with Topuria's full fight resume, expressed genuine admiration for him. The Mexican legend praised Topuria, stating that he loved, respected, and admired the fighter for incorporating aspects of Canelo's own fighting style into his own game. However, Canelo, ever the focused professional, made it clear that his eyes were firmly set on Crawford, as he emphasized the need to first address the task at hand before thinking of any future bouts.
Para mí es un honor que obviamente agarren un poco de mi boxeo. También mis respetos para todos. Y lo de la pelea, bueno, ya veremos después.
Now, for those who don't know Topuria's background, this isn't just some random fighter talking trash. This man is currently 17-0 in MMA with a perfect 9-0 UFC record. He's dominated with his high-level boxing skills and absolutely devastating power. Just look at his resume. He won and defended the UFC featherweight title by scoring historic knockouts over Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Then he vacated that belt, moved up to lightweight, and knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round to claim the vacant UFC lightweight championship this past June. The man is regarded as the best pound-for-pound fighter in MMA today, and he's backing up every single claim he makes inside that octagon. But here's the thing, Crawford isn't exactly a pushover. We're talking about a guy who's 41-0 with 31 knockouts, the undisputed welterweight champion, and he's looking to become the first undisputed welterweight champion in 3 different weight classes when he faces Canelo. Now, let's talk about the reality of this potential matchup. Photos from when Topuria met Crawford at the UFC Performance Institute back in June show their relative sizes. And here's what's interesting.
Presenting the star of boxing and pound-for-pound great, ladies and gentlemen, here is the former lightweight world champion, the former undisputed 140-pound world champion, and the current undefeated, reigning and defending WBO welterweight champion of the world, introducing Terence
Crawford, similar to Topuria, originally fought at 147 pounds before moving up to 154. But now he's facing Canelo at 168 pounds, meaning he's actually gotten bigger than El Matador. The fans' reactions have been, let's say, mixed. Some are saying Topuria needs to be humbled, with comments like, Crawford buy whatever he wants and keep dreaming, buddy. Others are pointing out that while Topuria would dominate in MMA, the advantage completely shifts in a pure boxing match.
If I prepare for 6 months, like only boxing, I don't do anything about wrestling, about grappling, whatever. Only boxing, bro, put me whoever you want in front of me.
whoever. And I hear a lot of guys talking about like boxers. No, Ilia, he has a good boxing, but for MMA, but he has nothing to do with me in the boxing ring. I'm like, listen, you don't have anything to do with me outside, inside, whatever you want. Like, what you want to do. I know how good I am in boxing. I train every day boxing, every day. That's part of my life.
But here's where it gets really spicy. Some fans are starting to believe him. One fan wrote, "The level of confidence to say that you're going to knock out the greatest boxer of our generation in one contact is savage stuff. I believe Ilia can do it because he predicts things unbelievably and his power is out of this world. And you know what? Topuria has backed up every bold prediction he's made so far. The guy has a track record of talking big and then delivering when it counts. But wait, there's more." While Topuria is calling out Crawford, Crawford himself was asked recently about UFC fighters, and his answer has the MMA world scratching their heads.
Ilia Topuria wants to continue following in Conor McGregor's footsteps. The lightweight champion would like to move up and fight the winner of Canelo and Crawford.
Did it with Conor. Why not with me? I would love to go to boxing. I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford.
Is Topuria biting off more than he can chew, or is this something that could possibly happen in the near future?
On the Full Send podcast, Crawford was asked who he believes is the best pure boxer in the UFC. Now, you'd probably expect him to say Ilia Topuria, right? Maybe Max Holloway, Jack Della Maddalena? Nope. Crawford's pick? Cody Garbrandt. That's right, the former bantamweight champion who's currently on a 2-fight losing streak and has lost 7 of his last 10 fights. Crawford said, and I quote, "Cody Garbrandt is the best boxer in the UFC. Cody got them hands. We are talking about straight boxing. I think Cody has the best boxing skills in the UFC, in my opinion."
Who do you watch in the UFC that you think?
My guy, what's his name?
You seen Topuria's? Cody Garbrandt?
Yeah, he the best. He the best UFC boxer.
Have you seen Topuria? Have you seen his fights recently?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Cody got them hands.
Cody's not, like, I'm not shitting on him, but he's not on the...
But I'm saying, we talking about straight boxing.
Straight boxing?
Yeah, we ain't talking about nothing else. We talking about straight boxing skills. I just think Cody got the best boxing skills, in UFC. That's just my opinion.
Now, to be fair to Crawford, Garbrandt was absolutely phenomenal in his prime. His performance against Dominic Cruz at UFC 207 was a masterclass. He became the first fighter to truly solve Cruz's awkward style with crisp, clean boxing. But fans were not having it. Comments ranged from, "I don't think he watches the UFC anymore," to "I love Cody, but what?" Many fans pointed out that while Garbrandt had skills, his durability has been questioned with multiple knockout losses, while Topuria is literally undefeated and knocking out Hall of Fame level competition. The timing is also interesting. This comes right after Topuria called out Crawford, so you can imagine how El Matador feels about being overlooked. Now let's talk about the real reason these callouts are happening, the money.
He going to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, and letting him know that I was interested in fighting Canelo. And him and a lot of people at first, they was like, nah, he's too big. You need to, focus on your weight class and things like that. But at the time, I'm like, well, there's no one at my weight class that's on that level of Canelo. Canelo comes from a smaller weight class. He's not a massive fighter, 6 foot tall. He's thick, but he's not giant. Picking Canelo was a thing that we looked deeply into.
Crawford is reportedly making between $10 to $50 million for his fight with Canelo, depending on pay-per-view numbers and back-end deals. Meanwhile, even the most popular UFC champions are lucky to make $5 to $10 million for their biggest fights. So you can see why Topuria is interested. He's following the Conor McGregor playbook. Build up a boxing crossover fight and make generational wealth. But here's the wild card. Saudi Arabia's involvement. Turki Al-Sheikh, who's been making massive moves in combat sports, has been mentioned by Topuria himself. The Georgian-Spanish fighter said, "Let's go, Turki Al-Sheikh. I would love it, and it would be a great experience." If the Saudis want this fight, they have the power and money to make it happen, regardless of what the UFC or boxing promoters initially think.
Got directions. I don't want either one of you guys to get hurt. Awesome. Thank you guys. There you go. There you go.
So what happens next? Well, First, we have Crawford versus Canelo this Saturday, September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. That fight will determine a lot about Crawford's future and whether he'll be interested in these crossover opportunities. Topuria, meanwhile,